Hell yes, I am. Let's get into this. This is the Prodeus beta. I'm really excited for this game. Just the beta test alone, just to be able to play the beta test is, oh, it was so much fun. And I love how the game already, I mean, it starts you off, lets you know it is not messing around. It spawns in one of the tougher flame ball shooting type of enemies. They really are the imps of this game. And they throw them at you with you not having a weapon to defend yourself, just with your bare fists. Again, just to let you know that this game is not messing around. And I know this game has been in kind of a alpha stage for a while until they just announced the beta and everything. I mean, look at this auto map, for crying out loud. It's the entire level, and you can go in it, move around it, zoom into it. It's not just some 2D thing. You can, you know, scope out every tiny little piece of what you're looking at. Fantastic. And I think that the art style with this game, oh, I mean, look at the weather effects right there. This transcends pixel art. This is essentially pixel porn is what it is, because if you stare at it, that's really what it is. It's pixels. And I love the name of this intro level, the Boomer intro. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I also like the end game stats screen with a score. I actually do enjoy the fact that they, you know, include a score. It really makes me smile. It does. And I like the overworld map, kind of like, you know, the old games had, like Doom and all that. It very much feels retro while still having a pretty futuristic feel to it. At least that's my opinion of it. I even like the title of the map, Excavation. And the spawn-ins, I mean, it's great. And the other thing I really like about the game, I noticed, is I really do like the feedback of the enemies flashing red when you actually make contact with them, be it with a punch or an actual gun. And again, I like the foreshadowing of picking up ammo for a weapon you're not 100% sure if you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna have. And it took me a while to figure out in this game if they were using polygons or sprites. They're multi-faceted sprites. They're not polygons, but they look so good. Just everything in this game. It's almost, you know, a perfect storm of old and new. Enemies with telegraphed attacks. I mean, it feels great. Now, as far as I'm aware, thus far in the development, the protagonist does not have a name. I mean, you kind of got a face in the visor there, the visor HUD, but as far as I'm aware, the protagonist doesn't have a name yet. Yeah, the pistol definitely feels very satisfying to use. The shotgun, equally so. It's sufficiently chunky. And I definitely want to talk about the music in this game. The music in this game certainly feels like some kind of 90s Trent Reznor homage. It feels like it's pulled right out of the mid to late 90s. It feels very industrial, very Nine Inch Nails-y. I love the assault rifles akimbo. That's great. These suicider type of enemies too. I feel like you know what though, to be honest, I'll take the suicider enemies versus the small, hard to hit enemies that are annoying as shit. I'll take the suicider enemies over those for sure. I am a fan of monster closets. I know that's kind of a Another controversial opinion. A lot of people don't like monster closets. I do. They're very indicative of the time. And then you have these guys who are... They're almost worse than cacodemons. I enjoy the style, though. That's also very creepy. They look great with the pixel art, the way that they've done them. Just the whole presentation here of Prodeus. It's not... I like what it does. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on the shotgun's alternate fire, though, charging it up like that, but... I mean, if you like it, you like it. Again, that's kind of a subjective thing. Believe it or not, I kind of like the checkpoint system in this game, where you're kind of not allowed to save scum it. I know I've been guilty of that before, save scumming, so this kind of makes you... It forces you to play fast, but it makes you kind of think more carefully about the decisions that you're making. It kind of makes you second guess yourself about the direction that you're taking. Am I going to go left or am I going to go right? Is it worth it to jump down here and try to suss out where that secret goes? You know, it kind of makes you a little bit more cautious, going from encounter to encounter, rather. Because once you're in an encounter with a bunch of enemies, being cautious and slow is the opposite of what you should be doing. Especially when big guys like this show up. And I'm not 100% sure at all how I one-shotted that big sucker, because typically it takes anywhere from 3 to 4 direct shotgun blasts to bring one of those guys down. And these shotgun guys, all of the enemy types will absolutely telegraph their attack. So as I stated previously, if you somehow mess up and die in this game, it's probably going to be your own fault. This is a great example of one of those instances where you definitely do not want to be standing in one spot. You want to try to stay as mobile as possible. Now, I kind of like the idea of this room. You see all the monsters behind the force fields there with one obvious switch in the room, which it kind of makes things clear about what's going to happen when you hit that switch. The force fields are going to lower and the monsters are going to come at you, but it kind of gives you a chance to kind of get prepared for what's coming instead of walking into a room and having it all sprung on you, so you can kind of strategize a little bit better. Now, this is another game that I really hope that it kind of fleshes out the lore a little bit more as it gets closer to a full release and after the full release comes out. Because if they kind of explain how the monsters are teleporting in, because it looks like it could be more of a teleport than a just, spawning in kind of thing. That would be kind of cool. As long as they try not to go too close to Doom without it actually being Doom. I'd really prefer it if they kind of made it their own thing. I mean, demons and sci-fi, it goes well together. You just don't, you don't want it to become one of those just change your homework enough so it looks like somebody else did it kind of things. I do love the assault rifles akimbo, though. Those are really, that's handy. That's nice. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I almost feel like they could tone down the blood a little bit, maybe a teeny bit. Because this isn't a game like Ultra Kill, wherein getting covered with blood is part of the gameplay loop. Great death animations all the way around, though. I do think some instances, though, this one being a particular standout example to me, where you come down to the bottom of the lift there, and then those demons are, well, I'm going to assume they're demons, are right there, and there's no way to avoid their attack. That, I think that is kind of cheap. Now, I will say that that is a rocket launcher in there. I have no idea how to get said rocket launcher. So that is a secret I did not uncover, unfortunately. This is a good encounter. I really enjoyed how they kind of put all those guys in that little side hallway like that, and then they kind of repeat it later on when you go in there yourself, and then the enemies spawn outside. I always like encounter spaces like that. It kind of gives you a little bit of an edge to where you can shoot and then hide and then shoot and then hide without there being an official cover system. It's one thing I'm not necessarily a fan of, is cover-based combat. I never really liked that mechanic. I really prefer the old school method of hide behind something so they don't see you. And I think right here could have been a great inclusion of infighting. I mean, I just think that if, one enemy shoots the other one, he should turn around and start firing back. But, that, again, that's a subjective opinion. pretty decent minigun in this game. I think it does a pretty good amount of damage. I really don't like the amount of time that it takes to spin up. I also am not necessarily a fan of moving slower when you're using it as well. I do appreciate, though, that the alternate fire is just to keep the barrel spinning, so all you have to do is just press fire after that point. But, yeah, the slowing down when just using it unless you're zoomed in, I'm not necessarily a fan of that. But all in all, good minigun, great addition to the arsenal. See, you can really tell with that red flashing feedback when you're hitting the enemies for all the damage that you possibly can. I like that. So that way you kind of know if you're missing or not. But it also lets you know that, hey, this isn't hit scan. I really kind of like also what the game does right here. It'll allow you to kind of let you use one of the enemies there as a meat shield for the other one. And, you know, again, if there was infighting, he could turn around and shoot. You could still be shielded behind him. But, again, that's a subjective thing. And I really do like when an older style game will give a weapon its entire, its own little introduction. Especially this one. This is the arc rail. I really enjoy this gun. It's a combination of kind of like an arc lightning weapon with a rail gun. The rail gun, of course, being the secondary fire. But the primary fire, as you'll see here, the electricity kind of arcs between enemies and does quite a bit of damage. As you can tell, I took out one of them floaty brain bug thingies pretty quickly. And it is a lot of fun to use. Just to chain that lightning between enemies, it's a lot of fun. Especially in this final area here when you just got all manner of baddies trying to keep you from opening that portal. I feel like the facility noises as well are very suitably Weyland-Yutani. Using that arc rail too to just take that flying sucker down there, it's really satisfying. And again, the pixel animations, they're really elegant. I like that railgun secondary fire as well. Boom! And that is the Prodeus beta, folks. I really hope you enjoyed watching me play it. I enjoyed playing it. Again, go to the Steam page, sign up for the beta, try to get in on it because it is a lot of fun. This is another game that I will be playing the pants off of when the full version releases. So, thank you for checking this out. Until then, folks, until then.